Hello, and welcome to a discussion video about my top 5 favorite horror movies that I've seen this year, 2021. Welcome. This is part of my October bonus month stuff, with bonus videos every day of the horror variety. And I thought this would be a nice fit just because, we're in the spooky season. I know not a lot of people probably watch as much horror movies as I do. I'm a little bit of a freak like that. But if people are going to be watching horror movies, this is definitely the season for it. So I thought I'd give some good recommendations. If you didn't do our horror movie reaction night with the Dread Out live action movie, or if that's not satisfying enough for you, which to be fair, I don't blame you. I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. This is gonna be pretty short. I do watch a lot of movies. I'm not really much of a reviewer. I kind of just I either like or not like them. But we'll do a short discussion of my five picks. And if you have any questions or you want me to elaborate on any of them, then feel free to ask or whatever in the comments. Because this is just as per usual, unscripted. We just do it around here. Also, you're like, Aidan, why aren't you listening to some spooky music? I'm sorry, I'm just too lazy. Now, whenever I need music, I just use the OST mix, Aidan's OST mix on my channel. So, I'm sure some of the music's not gonna be very fitting, but this is the state of me making videos. Too lazy to actually handpicked music nowadays. But anyways, yeah, before we get into this though, I just want to say, while I say movies I watched this year, I don't mean movies that are released in 2021, just horror movies I've watched this year. And looking back at it, I haven't actually watched too many movies this year, so I feel like this year has been more of a TV show year. So there wasn't a lot to choose from. Not a lot of movies that really amazed me, but there's some bangers. Hopefully, at least if you do decide to watch one of them, hopefully they're not bad, right? That'd be the worst part of it. But yeah, let's get into this. So for my fifth spot, we're choosing a Japanese film called POV, A Cursed Film, released in 2012 by Norio Suruta. So I did want to put a Japanese movie in just because I love Japanese horror movies. It's a lot of my favorites are Japanese horror movies. A lot of nostalgia for it too, because I watched a lot of them when I was a kid, because my dad was crazy and made me watch horror movies as a kid. So yeah. I'll be honest, this movie isn't amazing, but I thought it was fun enough to add, I feel like horror movies in general, an average horror movie is usually worse than just an average any other genre movie, but this is slightly above average for me. So, as you might tell from the title, this is a found footage film. And so just take that in mind. I know a lot of people don't like found footage. I'm actually a found footage enjoyer. I like it. I like the low budget style. Just the style of them in general. For some reason, I'm just more forgiving of it. And if they're bad, then it's just chill and watch on the background thing. if it's feeling that bad. And a lot of the good there are a handful of good found footage that people probably know, like Wreck, the Spanish movie, is really good. Norio, the Japanese movie is pretty good, and almost every other found footage movie that guy makes, he's kind of, for me, my favorite found footage person. Apparently this director, haven't watched too much of his stuff besides this, and I guess The Ring Zero, which I honestly don't remember too much about. But this was decent. So this is found footage I mixed with a mockumentary. It's basically about two idols doing a show. and after seeing some spooky stuff on the show, they decide to basically do a little ghost hunt at at a school. And as per usual in every found footage movie, it goes bad. I think the scares are decent. You know, I think for a found footage movie, you really don't need jump scares as much. I think it's more of an atmospheric slash sneaky scares usually do the trick, and I think they do a pretty good job at it. The characters were interesting. The two idol people, trying to remember everyone else, camera guy. The twist on kind of what was happening, I guess, was it's pretty easy to predict. But I guess like one of the highlights is probably the ending of the movie. That was like that was a twist I was not expecting, and it literally just goes bonkers insane. Kind of the Japanese style, sometimes, to just have an insane ending. For you know, maybe it's not a good thing, but it is an entertaining thing. So I think this is a decent movie. I kind of just really wanted to put a Japanese movie on though, so it's definitely not my favorite, but I think it's good enough to put on. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you like found footage movies, at least. But yeah, first, I guess, fifth spot done. Next spot is The Wolf of Snow Hollow 2020, directed by Jim Cummings. I have not watched any of his other movies. Directing, I think he acts in like some stuff. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with actors and directors, I'm not gonna lie. I probably shouldn't be that bad, but alas, it's memory problems. But I thought this was a really good movie. This is more of a horror comedy for me, and I think horror comedies personally are hit or miss. Like, a lot of them are just cheesy and uninteresting if the comedy takes away from the horror aspect. But I think this does very nicely, because it's not like it's not like a full-on horror comedy. It's more of it has comedy elements, but it's a really fun movie. It's basically, brief summary, murders going on in a small town. Okay, and I'm sorry, a lot of these movies I watched like at the beginning of the year, so it's a little more fuzzy for me. Yeah, murders at a small town. People think it's a wolf, but it seems a little more sketch than that. And, you know, it's kind of a quote-unquote werewolf movie, which is something I usually don't like, but it's really freaking funny. I think the acting is also unique. I call it stuffed acting, where the actors, like, they go a little crazy in kind of a weird way, but it's on purpose for the movie, and I think they did it pretty well. The climax was really fun. The last like 30 minutes, I was entertained through the whole movie, to be honest, but like it's a very rewarding experience by the end of it. I really like the main character, which I think is actually just played by Jim Cummings. I thought it was very fun to follow. Or maybe that's just I don't freaking know, dude. I'm sorry. But this is like, I think this is honestly, like, if we're talking about like quality, maybe like the best of all of them. Just hate my word for it, dude. Scare level, I guess we should have talked about scare level. Whatever, I mean, POV scare level is it is what it is for found footage. I put it on the medium scale. I think this is also medium scale, but it's, the monster's a bit more interesting, and, you know, different vibe, you know, police officers, guns and stuff, not helpless people. A little bit of a mystery here and there. Good stuff. Would recommend, obviously, because it's here. Hello, Rants. But yeah. Fourth place. Easy fourth place. Next. We we have an Indonesian movie. Aidan, is it the Dread Out movie that that you did a reaction video for? It's not. That movie's not good. It's not bad, but it's not great. But this is May the Devil Take You by Timo Butcher Time. Tajajanto. Anyways, we won't talk about that pronunciation. But yeah, this is an Indonesian movie. I've been saying, I really do think Indonesian horror is like, it's pretty up there for in the Asian, I guess, region of horror. Like they have like the other director that did like Imperador and Satan's Slaves, which was really good. And then you have Timo, who did this. He did a sequel. He did Macabre, which I watched, which I didn't put on just because I put this on the list. But Macabre is also a really fun movie. But yeah, this movie is really good. I think probably the scariest movie out of the list. It's basically about a girl whose rich father dies, and her rich father left her for another wife after he got rich, I think, or like another family, and now inheritance problems and stuff, and then they learn about the sketchy dealings with the father and stuff. So it is like a ghost possession type movie. It's really fun, dude. I think the scares are actually done really well. You know, I do love the monster, quote unquote monster, I guess. More of a spirit. I think, I guess, spoiler, creepy Asian ghost ladies. That was my childhood scary monster favorite thing. Aidan talk. It's hard to talk. Yeah, just as Ju-on was like my favorite movie as a kid. It's really scary. I think the actors and actresses, the main cast was pretty good. Like I liked the main character. I liked the guy main character. I thought the sister to the guy main character was good. I mean, she was annoying, but she played her role pretty good. Obviously, it's a little hard to talk about acting in general for foreign films, but I thought it was pretty solid. Story-wise, also very interesting. A little, not simple, but like easy to understand, I guess. It kind of reminded me of Insidious. Not like story-wise, just the same vibe, I guess. I mean, you're probably like, not at all, but I don't know. To me, it was like that. Maybe it's also because its sequel was like alright, but like a pretty big step down, which is the same for like the Insidious series. But yeah. If you want something scary and you don't mind a foreign film, then I think this is the pick. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, solid one. Sequel's not as good. I'd rather recommend Macabre before the sequel, unless you really like this movie and you wanted to watch the sequel. It does feel like they might make a third film just from the way the sequel ended. Again, becoming an Insidious thing with a lot of sequels for kind of no reason, to be honest, besides it just being successful. But anyways, good movie. Third place. Next spot, we're doing The Empty Man 2020 by David Pryor. Do I know who this is? Nope. I mean, he did. Nope. Literally nothing, really. Yes, I really like this movie. I remember going into it, like one of the headlines I saw was the next The Ring movie for this generation. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then after watching it, I'm like, I get what they're talking about, dude. So this is basically about a private detective. No, not a private detective. An ex-cop um, helping a friend of his find her missing daughter. And when diving into the case, he starts diving into this new urban legend / trend called the Empty Man, where I believe it was if you blow a bottle on a bridge and you find the bottle on the bridge and think of the Empty Man while chanting his name 3 times or something, he comes and gets you. It's kind of very similar to like the Ring thing, watch the video 7 days you die. I think the Empty Man was like 3 days. So I get that. And I think this movie is really good. To me, the scare level again was maybe like low medium, but like story level, I thought it was probably the most interesting movie maybe. Yes, the premise sounds kind of silly, blowing a bottle, but I think like directing wise, it felt very movie-esque. I don't know what that means. I guess it's like use of camera angles and stuff like that. Interesting visually, I guess is a good way to put it. I like the main lead. I like retired cops, dude. Cop characters that are like either like aren't afraid to break the rules, like that sort of stuff. A little gritty is kind of a character genre that I like, and I thought he played it well. I will say maybe near the end a little confusing because it gets into some weird territory with the lore. But I'm fine with that, man. I get confused easily, so yeah. But I thought it was a very interesting watch. Maybe like most interesting. Besides, when I'm dubbing these, I'm kind of not including the number 1 spot, by the way. But yeah, great movie. Honestly, I mean, it's number 2, so I would recommend it. Obviously, I'm sorry. It's actually 1 in the morning. Probably not the best time, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyways, good movie. Yeah. I feel like it's not as popular as some of the others. I mean, not including POV. Actually, I feel like maybe besides May the Devil Take You. That's like the only popular one. but anyways, good movie. Definitely worth watching, in my opinion. If you hate it, then that's on me. And for our number 1 spot, it's a little weird. It's kind of just a series of movies, but we will go into specifics. So every year, I started this tradition 2 years ago. I kind of like watching like a series of horror movies. 2 years ago, I watched all of the Ju-on / The Grudge movies just in preparation for the new Ju-on movie, or I guess the new Grudge movie that came out in 2019, which was trash. The Netflix show was actually pretty good though, so saved. Ju-on is saved. Last year I did a Tomy movie reaction. Tomy series, all of the Tomy movies. And by Tomy I mean Tomie, sorry. I always mispronounce her name, which was fun. And this year, I decided to do the Korean series. I'm just trying to. What was the series called? I'm pretty sure it's called Whispering Corridors. You might know it. So this is like a long Korean series, more of like an anthology. Like they don't really have anything to do with each other, but every movie's basically about a girl's high school ghost story. And they're all great. Each movie, despite having, I mean, the premise is pretty open. Usually so basically it's a story about girls only high school, usually has some homoerotic tones to the story, and usually involves ghosts. And each one feels very unique, very fun, very consistently good. Besides the first one, I thought the first one was actually pretty bad, and I kind of wanted to drop it. But then I'm like, the next one everyone loves, so might as well give it a shot. And I will say, I think for the rest of the series, it was very fun to watch. Now, talking on the scare meter, we'll go through each of them. First one I think is boring, unless you're just like a freak like me and just want to be a completionist and watch all of them, then go for it. But I think in general, the first one's worth skipping. It might have just aged badly, but even as just like a not scary drama, the ending's just too long and drawn out. Honestly, the most interesting part of the movie is just, which a lot of the movies show, is just the abuse in high school, man. Rough teachings. Then you have Memento Mori. I think that's the fan favorite of the series, which is just crazy, very artistic, very unique, and I understand why people love it. But also, I have horrible taste, so it's actually not my favorite of the series. I personally love the third movie, Wishing Stairs, and the fourth movie, Voices, the most. Wishing Stairs probably had the most interesting characters, in my opinion, while Voices had a really fucked up ending that really hit. And also the characters were good. I'm a very character-centric person in like drama horror. I call these drama horror because yes, there's horror, but it's usually not very scary, and it's more just a character story. And I do like Wishing Stairs and Voices better, which is unpopular. I know people love Memento Mori. That one's a little more abstract, at least for me, compared to these two. And the other movies, what was it? What was left? Blood Pledge was not great. It might be the scariest just because it's more modern and they do a lot more modern scares with jumps and stuff. But in terms of quality, I don't think it really stands on the same level as the other three besides the first movie. And I have not watched the sixth movie because it kind of just came out after I finished my marathon, and it wasn't translated, so I was just like, oh, whatever, we'll wait for it. But yeah, I would recommend the series, again, minus the first one. But if you just want to choose one, because you don't need to watch them in any particular order, because they're all different. They don't have anything to do with each other besides, I think, Jesus, my ears. Sorry, you gotta love YouTube. YouTube sound differences for videos. Besides, like, I think one or two movies having the same setting, using the same school, they're all different, and they honestly all have a different vibe to them. And then a lot of them also kind of love stories between girls. And yeah, fun stuff. A lot of the endings are just like tragic too. A lot of them are sad. That's what I wanted to say. All of them are freaking sad, dude. Besides like the first and Blood Pledge. But yeah, I don't know. I do love sad stuff. If I'm very hit or miss. Like, I'm an emotional person, so I can get sad easily. But like, just sometimes when stuff means to be sad, I just don't get sad at all, which makes it a lot less good. But dude, Voices and Wishing Stairs just hit different, man. I'm telling you, it's a good one. Definitely worth that. I know it's kind of weird putting a series as the first one for my list, but if you have to solidify it, I'm just gonna put Wishing Stairs as number one. But the whole series is pretty good. And yeah, that's all I got. I just wanted to make a 25 minutes isn't quick, but not too detailed. Just some recommendations. If you're looking for something. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to check out the channel. We do have a good amount of horror content on there. It's also a horror month if you're watching this on the month of October, with extra horror content sprinkled everywhere, so you might like what you see. And yeah, thank you for watching. Again, if you have any comments, want to talk about anything, or if you're like, Aidan, I watched this really good movie this year, did you watch it? If not, if you did, why isn't it on this list? It's probably because I have horrible taste. If I did watch it and it's not on the list, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's all I got. Just a fun little video. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and maybe I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.